I'd be hard-pressed to think of a more perfect TV cast than the one in Wednesday, and I was quite surprised to learn that it was originally supposed to include actress Thora Birch. The Tim Burton Netflix series was an immediate hit when it premiered in 2022, and the highly anticipated Wednesday Season 2 is set to release later in 2025. Based on the titular Addams Family character, Wednesday sees the eldest Addams child shipped off to Nevermore Academy after getting expelled from her normie school. Featuring a creepy and kooky performance from Jenna Ortega as Wednesday, the show has all the dark academia vibes you could want. Being a 90s kid, I was definitely familiar with the Addams Family and Christina Ricci's iconic portrayal of Wednesday, which is why I was delighted to see her in the Wednesday cast. I also grew up watching Thora Birch movies, starting with Hocus Pocus and Monkey Trouble, followed by more mature fare like Now and Then, Ghost World, and, of course, American Beauty. While Birch still acts, her star has faded over the past several years, and I haven't seen any of her recent projects. That's why it would have been fantastic to see her on Wednesday, though that ship has sadly sailed. Thora Birch left the Wednesday Season 1 cast due to creative differences. She was supposed to play Wednesday's normie dorm mother, Tamara Novak. Thora Birch as Gamma on The Walking Dead Unmasked. In August 2021, Deadline released a huge Wednesday cast announcement that included Thora Birch as Tamara Novak, the only normie at Nevermore Academy who was also Wednesday's dorm mother and had a penchant for botany. Sound familiar? However, in December 2021, a few months into Wednesday Season 1 filming in Romania, Deadline also reported that Birch had left the project. The publication claimed that, according to their sources, Birch was dealing with a family illness. A rep from MGM, the show's producer, said in a statement, "Thora has returned to the States to attend to a personal matter and will not be returning to the production." However, almost a year later, Birch shed some light on her Wednesday exit, and while she didn't get into specifics, it appears that her departure had more to do with creative differences than any reported personal problems. Birch also alluded to the issues having to do with possible changes being made to her character late in the game. Birch told ET, via WRGZ, "While it's always sad when actors have to leave a project due to creative differences, insult was added to injury because Wednesday is the reason why Birch couldn't perform in Hocus Pocus 2, as filming for both projects took place at the same time." Though she expressed excitement for how the sequel would turn out, Birch said she was ultimately dismayed she couldn't take part in it. Christina Ricci replaced Birch in a similar Wednesday role. Ricci plays Marilyn Thornhill, a Laurel Gates. It's surprising that Christina Ricci wasn't part of the Wednesday cast all along, given her history with the role, but she was actually brought in as a replacement for Thora Birch. Though Birch's role of Tamara Novak was not recast and ultimately scrapped, she was somewhat repurposed into Ricci's Marilyn Thornhill. Like Tamara, Marilyn is also Wednesday's normie dorm mother who is also Nevermore's botany teacher. However, we find out at the end of Wednesday Season 1 that Marilyn is really the villainous Laurel Gates, who tries, and fails, to kill Wednesday. Ricci, who had previously worked with Tim Burton on 1999's Sleepy Hollow, was overjoyed at being asked to join the Wednesday cast. She told Collider how Birch could still be part of the Wednesday cast. She could play another faculty role or the next villain. The cast of Now and Then with their arms around each other in a promotional image. Given that Thora Birch once departed Wednesday, it's unlikely that she'd be inclined to return, especially given that she may have feelings of resentment for turning down Hocus Pocus 2 for a project she ultimately left. However, never say never more. Birch's comments about leaving Wednesday made it seem like the creatives were still trying to figure out what the show was going to be. Now that it has a successful Season 1 under its belt, it's likely that the writers have found their footing, and may very well not need the changes they did in the first installment. This could open the door for Birch as for who she could play. There's always the possibility of another Nevermore faculty member once the Academy opens back up. There's certainly a job opening due to Marilyn's dramatic exit. And with Marilyn and Laurel seemingly dispensed with, that leaves room for another villain for Wednesday to face off against. It'd be pretty cool to see Birch take on a Wednesday antagonist role, given that she acted with Christina Ricci in Now and Then. Perhaps their other Now and Then co-star, Gabby Hoffman, could play a villain too. At the very least, a 90s girl can dream.